celebrate the feast of St. Clare. For us Franciscans, Holy Mother St. Clare, special patron and helper of our order, helper of our sisters and friars, to be holy and faithful to our charism. Charism that kind of highlights poverty, which is detachment from the world, and we human beings looking at poverty and looking at detachment, looking at the ascetical life, looking at all these things that we give up, we kind of, in a sense, hate or look down upon the world, and seeing it all as rubbish and useless in a way, not entirely, but things to just kind of stay away from as the plague, the world and all that. You can kind of think in those kind of negative terms, but of course we know the world isn't the world that God made, is not evil, is not bad, and we can use it for good. But we do need to be detached from it, and St. Francis and St. Clare highlight that detachment, staying away, stripping ourselves from the things of the world, not to focus on that, but to put these things aside so that we can focus on our Lord, a greater love for, focus on, a greater concentration on Jesus, on heavenly things, on the important things, on prayer, not being distracted by all these things. So it's like kind of cutting through the jungle, cutting through all these things, and then arriving at the treasure, arriving at the loved one. That's what we're trying to put all these things aside so we can focus on Jesus and on Our Lady and serving Him and doing His will. But we do have all these things around us. We do have the world and material things which we can use for our good, for our holiness. But there are those who are going to be strong examples of that detachment, and that would be St. Francis and St. Clare. And they happen to live at the same time. They happen to be contemporaries, and so we can see the hand of God, how God rose up St. Clare to hear the words of St. Francis, to be inspired by his desire to embrace poverty for the sake of embracing Jesus. She wanted to do that in the feminine way, and so she went to St. Francis, and he brought her to the Portiuncula and cut off her hair, gave her simple clothing. She was wealthy. She came from a wealthy family, and she was only, I think, 18 when she left the world, left her family, left her father, who was a count, important man, who was not going to be happy with her leaving the home, and so she had to leave quietly, secretly, against his will. She went on a Palm Sunday and went to St. Francis, and he found a Benedictine convent for her to stay in temporarily, and then gave her Church of St. Damien, which was abandoned, and he was fixing it up for her. And she started her community. Her sister Agnes joined her very shortly after. I think it was 2 weeks after, and that infuriated her father and uncle even more. They came and tried to drag her away, but she became like lead, like a stone. She couldn't be moved. They tried to pull her by her hair. They did pull her by her hair, and she begged St. Clare to pray for her, and then she became immovable. So St. Agnes joined her. Her mother joined her later on, Hortolana, and they began the great history of the Poor Clares, and the Poor Clares are continuing strong and vibrant today. Mother Angelica's orders, Poor Clares of the Adoration. Leaving the world And this is the one thing I think St. Francis and St. Clare really show for us. We cannot be attached to the world. There's too many distractions, too much, especially here in America. Not just material things, but the freedom that we enjoy in America. Freedom, a good thing, but can make us do things that lead us away from God. So some of us renounce freedom, we renounce the world, renounce material things, renounce family, renounce these things to devote ourselves to the love of God, growing in love, more and more love for Jesus. Look at St. Francis, licked his lips when he said the name Jesus. He loved God so much. My God and my all, would stay up saying at night at times. His love for Jesus was so strong, and St. Clare's was comparable to the love of St. Francis for Jesus. So we want this great love for God, which we're not going to get if we are attached and too much distracted. So we ask St. Clare to help us to detach ourselves from material things, from the world, from the glamour, from the excitements of the world, and really, really attach ourselves to Jesus.